latest on Harris?
Well, same as yesterday. He actually was back doing some running today, so his program, we'll get him active as soon as we can. We thought it didn't look great when he came off, and then the scans were a little bit, worse than what we thought, but still in that 5 to 6 week range. We'll reassess it when we get to the break before the finals. And got a lot of confidence in our medical guys to get him back hopefully a bit earlier.
Given he will be obviously coming off a soft tissue injury straight into finals, is there a concern that you won't be able to get him up to that full fitness?
Don't think so. No, I don't think so. I've already had a couple of conversations with other clubs about having non-AFL scratch matches in that week of the bye round, going into the finals. We think we can get enough load in there. We've advanced that area really well in the last sort of 5 or 6 years. I think collectively as an industry that we're able to understand the workloads and get them prepped and ready to go. So we think we'll be okay there.
Obviously, such an important player, you'll be doing all you can to get him right for the finals.
Yeah, we're doing the same for all of them. Tommy Fulham was out there this morning, from that side of things. So we won't go any more just because it's Harris. We treat every player the same, and we give them the full going over.
How is it that he's able to run so soon after pre-season?
It's a pretty slow run. But yeah, it's more about the activation to keep the muscle working, in my limited understanding. So very, very small amount, but they get them active earlier rather than later now. So that seems to have been the trend over the last couple of years. Is most guys with hamstrings tend to get mobile and up and going a little bit earlier than they have in the past.
Paige knows a bit about hamstrings. Is that Harris down? So this is how you come back?
I haven't touched that one.
Just give us a bit of an indication of, this is an All-Australian defender now.
Yeah.
A key player.
Yep.
How big is this guy for this club?
Oh, look, he's our longest serving academy player. He's in the leadership group. He's an important player to us, no doubt. But we also back in, he's able to do his job because we get good ball pressure. There's good pressure up the field. We're able to cover off, other leading lanes to help him out from time to time. So it's not just about him and his one-on-ones. They're obviously really special and he does a great job with it, but there are other elements to our defensive capability, and so from that side of things, we would just have to work that a little bit harder in those areas.
Are we looking first week of finals, or is it more realistic?
I think once we get to the bye round, we'll have a better idea. We'll see how it settles down and how he responds to the initial part of the rehab program. So that's a little bit hard to sort of assess, but we're hopeful sooner rather than later. But again, I think we've been pretty good at not bringing guys back too early, and once they're back in, they generally tend to play and stay.
Did you guys vote in favour of that having the bye week?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, look, there's a sentiment about getting the season finished and completed, but ultimately we were happy to have the break. I think if you spoke to all clubs, it would be not having that bye in round 18 or round 17. That'd be the only thing, that if you don't play 18, you then have another bye, so only playing one game in sort of those 3 week periods. So that was probably more our discussion about when the bye was positioned for us.
In hindsight, it's pretty handy though also.
Yeah, we're happy that we went that way, yeah, for sure.
How do you look at trying to replace him then? You've got 3 matches to come up with try and get one guy in, or do you shuffle your big fellas around a bit?
They probably had the first little bit of match committee on Saturday, Fish, and they're meeting at the moment this morning. So do you just replace the system? Do you try to reshuffle? That'll be the discussion that we've got. Jack Payne's played previously. He sort of replaces Harris in the, not the person, but the size and shape. Or do you try to reshuffle Darcy and Froggy with something else? So that will be the way that we'll try to counter that. I'd imagine that's what they're talking about this morning.
What about McStay? Do you chance to come back?
Yeah, that's a possibility. We did it on the weekend. Thought he actually helped us out in that last 10 minutes. A couple of those contests with Cox, he really backed into that contest, brought the ball to ground. So yeah, that's certainly a possibility. It's something that Dan's done previously. The last probably 2 years we've kept him more forward, but I think when we 17, 16, he was probably one of those guys that could go backwards and forwards. So that'll certainly be a consideration.
Sort of a forgotten guy. Probably this year's Marcus Adams.
Yeah.
A lot. Is he?
No, Marcus is on long-term injury, so Marcus won't be back this year.
Steph Martin.
Steph's,
no, not for the Harris.
yeah, no, I don't think Steph would be happy with that.
Is he getting close? Or?
He is, yeah. No, Steph was running Saturday. We before our practice match with Collingwood early. He's actually moving along really well. So I just bumped into him downstairs. He wanted everybody to know that he wanted to come back this week, but that's probably not a reality. I don't think he's getting there that quickly, but certainly if there's some good progression with him in the next couple of weeks, yeah, we might be able to squeeze a practice match in before the bye round, which would be pretty encouraging. Yeah,
that's pretty positive. Like,
yeah,
Oscar's going great, but
yeah,
a bit of help.
Well, that's where it is today. You know, again, we don't know if he gets a little setback or it takes a little bit longer, but from where he's tracking at the moment, we're really comfortable with the loads that he's starting to actually now get up to. So that'll be the things from once you get the medical clearance, then it's a bit more about the reconditioning, and that's where we're at in that portion of getting him a bit more work into his base.
No, there's no secret the club struggled with goalkeeping this year.
Yeah.
From a list management perspective, how do you approach sort of fixing that long term?
Well, I mean, we've had a number of people that have worked with the club. I mean, this year it's been difficult with the COVID because you have to strip everything out. So from a budgetary perspective, it just gives you a less capability to maybe tap into some expertise. But I think at the end of the day, for us, it's still about winning games. What we're hopeful is that, you know, the inaccuracy doesn't cost you games. I mean, that's ultimately the one that you've got to work through. But I wouldn't think we're just going to go out and get guys that are, you know, only good at just being able to kick set shots. You know, that would be detrimental to the other parts of your forward line structure, whether it's pressure, whether it's taking another, you know, key defender away from somebody else. So we'll just keep chipping away with it like we've always been. We'll face it up and we'll get better at it.
Is Joe Danaher a target?
We're not going to comment on where our list management strategy is at, so we don't comment on players like that publicly.
How's Archie?
Archie's going well. Yeah, he played his second game back this week. Did really well. We actually played 3 or 4 guys for a half because of the short turnaround this week. So yeah, he probably comes back into contention this week, you'd imagine. So we had for Wednesday. Yeah. So Link played a half, Hinge played a half, Payne played a half, and Archie played a half. So they were the guys that we needed to assess for this week. So that'll be part of the discussion for match committee this week. So that's the reason those guys only played a half.
Well, how much of a high after beating Collingwood after the long, 2014, and is it okay to then bounce back up to the Suns, so local derby sort of stuff? How does that work?
Look, I think so, because I think we've experienced, like, this is the second time we've gone into that condensed, program. Look, whilst there's been a lot of discussion and narrative around the game, like, we thought we did a really good result, played a really good style to actually get the result that we wanted. Hadn't beaten them for a while. Felt like a really tight finals type game out there, like when you talk to the Collingwood guys and our guys. So I think we've given, the previous experience that we've had of having to bounce back into another game, I think our guys will be okay.
How much of it, we've seen, I think the Eagles rested Nick Manui.
Yeah.
Max King had a rest as well. I mean, how difficult is it for clubs at this point? I mean, healthiness is going to be key for the final series. How difficult is it to try and manage that in terms of keeping the form line going, but also making sure players are right?
I think it depends on each club's program. Like, if you look at us, we came off that 9-day break where we had that previous weekend off. We sort of get a little bit of a condensed, and then we go into a week's break. The players will tell you they want to keep playing, and as long as their loads are okay and their bodies are holding up, then our tendency will be we'll put our best team on the park each week. So our program has tended to work in favour, I think, of not having to go down that path of necessarily resting too many.
How strange was it on the weekend to be
Very.
Watching a game and watching a young fella run?
Very, yeah, no, he was getting in the way early on, wasn't he? He was stopping us from... No, I was very proud. He played really well. It's probably 2 or 3 times in the box I sort of got caught into what he was doing rather than doing my job. So, yeah, it was a bit weird, but, good result for us, and he played well. So, not that he was happy with that.
Someone pull you into line when you were getting a bit too far in his face?
No, because I was in the next room, so I was a little bit removed, so I was lucky. But, yeah, I'm sure someone would have.
It's a perfect result for you.
Yeah, it was...
And the boy plays well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, no, all good.
The physicality of the Collingwood game, the Suns are going to come just as hard.
Yep.
So bruises on bruises.
Yep.
A few days apart.
Yeah.
they're going to have to aim up. These boys are still going to be not quite right, aren't they? So this is going to be more of a
Yep.
head.
Yeah. I think all clubs have done really well in, you know, making sure the season keeps moving forward based on the fact that, I mean, I think a lot of guys play sore each week. They get 6-day, 7-day, 8-day breaks. In this case, we've got 4 and 5. So it's amazing what they can do. They get their head around it. We get them moving earlier. They prep themselves. Their recovery becomes really important. And yeah, I think as an industry, it's been really impressive to see how our athletes have actually just continued to stump up after sort of, you know, short turnarounds.
Yeah, I guess Lockie Neal was an example of that the other night. He was limping around for a while.
Yeah.
And he just finished.
Yeah. There's lots of guys that carry little niggles out there that you guys don't, you know, aren't aware of, but they just, they seem to be able to get through. So they're pretty tough and resilient, for sure.